Good morning, and good morning. I am on time. I'm excited about that right there. It is exactly 9 o'clock. How are you? How was your last couple of days since I was on here last doing Are You Stuck? Sometimes we're going to get stuck. We're going to get stuck with everything we can come across, okay? It may be as such as I can't find a shoe, or I don't know what I want to eat today, don't want to go to that meeting, or I'm stuck in a meeting. Those things happen to us all the time, all the time. I'm really excited today, and I'm hoping Debbie comes on, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about her. But I wanted you all to see this picture to my right shoulder here. I'm really trying to wait till she gets in here to know how much I have been absolutely spellbound by this picture. Um, Sometimes you just come across people in your lifetime, and you never know if they're going to be there for a minute, or they're going to be there for an hour, or they're going to be there for months or years or lifetime. Debbie's one of those lifetime people. We rekindled our relationship about a year ago, and it was just a great opportunity to see a welcoming individual that just has always loved life and laughter and love. You know, um, just the sweetest little woman you ever want to meet, and quite feisty, quite funny, always in trouble when we worked together in New York. We worked for the New York State Department of Transportation. So we worked right out of we were a leg off of the commissioner's office. And, it's a wonder that they didn't fire all of us because we constantly kept up some kind of shenanigans with great laughter. I swear to you, we just had great laughter going on all the time. And Debbie was just said, "There's Debbie." Good morning. Good morning, my friend. There is my friend Debbie. And Debbie, I have your picture showcased to my right shoulder here. And I was just telling them about how we met, working for the Department of Transportation. We used to work for the Minority Business Office, and we did such things as placing, hours, contractual hours. That was specifically my job, where I would place contractual hours in large multi-million dollar contracts for the sole purpose of making sure women and minority businesses were absolutely hired on those jobs so that they would get a piece of the action. So I know affirmative action seems to be a do away with right now, but I know for certain that we did our due diligence to making sure that people were included at the time. And Debbie was the secretary to, she was secretary to the big boss who, I'm not going to say much about him, but the bigger boss was like the second person. Have you ever met that, where you're leading from another place in the beginning or at the head? I have a book that I started years ago called Leading from the Middle. And it's true. Sometimes the best talent is not at the top. They're the pass through. It's at the middle, or it's at someplace below the crest of where all the attention comes to. Most of the time, anything at the top gets most of what is seen, and most is what is possibly understood. But in our instance, we just had a great boss named Howard Sheffy, and Sheffy was just the absolute funniest person, because he would just smile with these deep dimples, and we would just tell him a whole bunch of stuff. And Debbie, of course, would always tell him, and I think I told you this before if you've been around me, where she says, "Just, that's okay, Howard, just cross this line. You just cross this line." And she would take her foot and draw like an imaginary line on the floor. And we would be just so tickled because she was the only one that could do it. Nobody else could do that crazy stuff. Well, he always would get fun. He and I would get funny too, but it was always that he never wanted to drive. So for me, when we had to drive to these different areas in the state, yes, with my one eye, I was driving then too. But I would drive him around, and he would, after he ate, he would immediately go to sleep. So that meant I could drive to the level of as far as my car would take me, and he in turn would go right off to sleep because he just had a meal. And we just loved Howard, but but Debbie was just a mess. It says, "Look, you're wearing beads." Yes, I'm wearing the beads like the woman has on in the picture. I set this all up. Debbie started it yesterday, and I'll go back. I digress. Sorry, but Debbie set this up yesterday. We had, a couple of weeks ago, I did a vlog on touch, and Debbie apparently was touched by whatever I said that day. And you can go back and look at some of that stuff and listen to it. But she was touched to give me something that she had been working on and was hanging in her house that she'd recently done and she really enjoyed. And she said, "Well, should I give this to to Sandy? Should I give this to her?" And so she called me the other day, and actually she texted me and she said, "Hey, what is your address?" And I said, "Well, here it is, blah, blah, blah." And I forgot all about it. Well, I kept getting these messages from UPS saying that I was going to receive, that I had ordered something from UPS. Well, lately UPS has to have this scam stuff going on, and people aren't really getting anything. They're just trying to get you the information, such as, you give us your information and we'll send you out where we're at on getting you your package. So I never responded to it. I just saw it and I said, I'm not getting a package. Well, yesterday, when I was returning from my meeting, I came back and it was actually, good morning, Miss Rosie. Good morning, Joan. Good morning, everybody that's on here. So I saw a package outside and I said, there is a package. So I brought it inside and I looked and I said, Chewy, who knows Chewy? I don't have no dog. I said, somebody's sending me something for the dog. Dog's been dead 1.5 years. So that's not for Gucci. Well, it wasn't anything to do with the dog. It was this beautiful portrait that Debbie did. Absolute beauty. I just sat down on the couch where I'm sitting now, just saying, wow, that somebody would give something away so pretty only because she loves you. And the note that came with it, it was beautiful. I'm not going to share that with you, but basically it was just saying, we've been friends and you're like sister from another mother. Debbie and I don't look alike, but we are alike. We like so many things that just say life, love, living. It says the things that make people happy. Debbie makes me happy. So, of course, after my choir rehearsal last night, I came home and I said, man, I'm going to have to do it. Tomorrow it's on a picture. What does a picture do for us? Well, a picture makes us smile. A picture can make us cry. A picture can make us get in touch with everything we've ever thought about, worried about, loved, cared about, just from a picture. It could be a photograph of our parent or parents. It could be the child that we raised and seeing them now versus when they were babies. It could be a vacation that you took with somebody. It could be that you had a family reunion. It could be that you're laughing at people at work, which we did all the time. We would do so many crazy things. It was absolutely insane where we worked at. And we all left there loving, still continuing to love each other, the people that we were fortunate to work with and work for. Howard has gone on to glory, and Howard was just a wonderful person. But I still have Debbie, and Judy, and I'm thinking of all the people that brought all of us together, and all of us still keep in touch. Only one that hasn't left New York State that we love dearly was Dwight. Dwight Montgomery, if you're watching, get on out of New York State and come on down here to Florida, because all of us moved to Florida. We're all over the state. So that's pretty cool that we still have that connection. So what is a picture? What's a picture for you? Give me, without using the descriptive words of the PICTURE, what is a picture to you? What does it do for you? What does it do for you? Does it make you happy? Does it make you cry? Does it give you joy? What descriptive word would you use for picture? What does a picture do? And I know Miss Rosie has a daughter, Deborah, who is the consummate artist, just absolutely beautiful. Debbie's artistic, you know, I would say her artistic weight and strength is in creating things that are just so beautiful, that are so different. And so does Deborah. I mean, Deborah's stuff is, I have several of her pieces around the house too. I love paintings. I love pictures and paintings, and I have to sometimes change out my walls just because, I want to see something else. You only have so many walls in the house. So sometimes I change them out. So I have several pieces of Deborah's, and a friend that used to work with us also at the transportation office in New York. Her name is Judy Daniel. Well, her husband, Joseph, had pictures, these two pictures behind me. One is called Shoe Fly to my right here, and the other one is called Cotton Carriers. And so he did a lot of things that were period pieces. And, it's just wonderful to know that this is legacy that you're leaving. This is beauty. Even if we move on to our next station after this life, the legacy that is left is absolutely huge. So let's see what this says. Hey, we've got curly hair. Yes, you're so funny. It says, capture the moment in time. That's true. And Joan says many different emotions depending on the picture. Absolutely. The picture kind of sets it for me. Some pictures, I look at them and I just get absolute happy. Other pictures, like these two pictures behind me, they take me back through history. Not so much mine in terms of Cotton Carriers, because I don't know anything about the South in that respect. But I do know that my grandmother used to sit and sew and shuck beans and all those kinds of things. So that I remember. But anything else prior to that, I have no recollection of, and no, say experience in. But pictures can absolutely, still you at times and make you really understand, what it is that others have been through or what you have been through. This particular picture that Debbie made for me reminds me so much of me. And obviously it must have reminded me, her, to even send it, that I do those things. I usually have scarves and all kinds of beads, and these beads are, like she's clutching her beads. I'm always doing this when I'm talking to people, where I'm clutching beads, and I'm thinking of, the life that I have, and pretty much that's all of us. But when we go back to the word picture, it says it's a painting or a drawing. It could be on canvas. It could be a delineation of something that someone has been given in their mind. It could be a cartoon or a print, a sketch, a portrait, an illustration of some sort, or it's just artwork. To me, I love pictures. Even my church knows I love pictures. Every Sunday I take shenanigans of whatever, we're doing, and people pose for me. They come up, and if I probably would have been a wonderful photographer. I'm just going to say it, because I have a good eye. However, it's time consuming. The iOS and all those kinds of things are a little over what it's overkill for what I want to be involved in. I just want the picture to work. And so I'm like the photographer that just wants everything to work out the way I want it to without me doing much. The camera's taken a lot away from what a photographer can do. However, if any of you have seen the pictures that were taken at my installation, my change of command, those pictures were done by a wonderful photographer who still does it the old-fashioned way, with the camera and with lighting. and those type of things. And his name is Anthony Weston, and I will use him again and again. And if you want his information, certainly ask me and I will get it off to you, because he's just that good. So when we break the word down, and I'll ask you again, are you stuck on any pictures? I am. Right now I'm stuck on this one and everything else that's probably up in here, but because I can just go and get dreamy about all the pictures I have. I also have, art pieces. When I was I lived in Italy for 4 years. So while in Italy, that's what we did as young people, was buying up all these things we thought we just absolutely had to have. Now, thank goodness for a china cabinet, and mine is called a Sojourner from Italy. Thank goodness for that, because that way I can put it in there and I don't have to dust it every week. But if it's just sitting out, it just collects dust. So when we break the word down, I'm going to start with the P. For me, the P is portrait. When I look at this, even though it's not a portrait of me, it is a depiction of a woman in thought, a woman maybe in prayer, maybe in meditation. That woman has something that she's concentrating on. It reminds me a lot of myself, because even though you all may see it, because when I'm talking and I'm doing vlogging or I'm meeting with people, I have to be, obviously in a manner that just says that I'm communicating. But when I'm communicating with myself, or I'm communicating with my higher power, with God, I need to have that look of I'm here, I'm inward in it. So that's what the picture portrays for me. So it says, this portrait is a pictorial representation of a person, usually showing the face. And that's what this picture does. Even though it's the side, it still shows the face. And sometimes we realize that a picture it's a painting, it's a drawing, or it could be a sketch. There's a young man in town, Carter Gadsden, that does some great stuff. And I've used him, in fact, for Mr. Owl's book, Owl's 10 Fingers. He used them to play music, which I wrote with Mr. Al Martin in 2020. And he passed away at the end of that year. It depicts what his childhood was like, desiring to be a musician. And so sometimes we don't realize that we have great potential that starts very young. Who captured it? Sometimes it may be with a camera, other times with a brush, and sometimes even with a pencil or charcoals. So, Carter is really good at going to events and just going around, and within 10 minutes he's captured how you looked, what you might have been doing, expressions on your face, you're happy, your anxiety, your humility, all of that he can capture, and really good, because I think things like this, like even what Debbie did, really shows how, the emotion of what's going on in the picture can be sent out to the viewer. Okay. Personable. Absolutely. I believe portraits are personable. Somebody's going to do a portrait of you. They're going to bring out what you look like, maybe even some of your what I would call your lights, the things that make you light up just from the picture. The fact that your eyes twinkle, or your mouth is twisted, or your nose is twitchy, or your cheekbones are high, all of those things. He says, I'm stuck on this one. Absolutely. Absolutely. You're stuck on not having a word. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You could just say that it's pretty, it's portable, because pictures are portable. You can move them. You can move them from one room to another. That's what I like about them, that you can move them. When we move on in the world of this word, it says I, and the I for me is identify. When I look at pictures, they identify something, maybe what was going on at the time, what the impact of what was going on at the time. It could be that, that it's showing humility, it's showing anxiety, it's showing, you know, you know, could be abuse. You know, sometimes pictures will just pick up things, not intentionally originally. Now, lately, how many have used their phones to pick up crime, to pick up, even with the George Floyd's case? That right there was all caught on camera and snapshots. You just never know. Illusion is good. I like that word, illusion, because it's your illusion when you're painting something or creating something. You've gotten an idea in your head on how it's supposed to be. The project, that's good, Debbie. That was good for the P. So identity, it says, establishes or indicate who or what something is. Basically, it's just setting it up. It identifies. It illustrates. It makes it poignant. It makes it visible. That's what identify is. So that you know what it is. When we move on in the world of this word, and I say in the world of this word because it's full. It has pictures. Just to me, they can tell the stories of the world just from a picture. I have my C as being something that's been captured, something that has been captured. And captured in this case says an image, such as, we are sharing this great capture of the rainbow of the city. That's written in Cambridge Dictionary. But you can look at when we go out and we capture the sunset or the sunrise, or we look at the sea, or just walking on the beach and the sand. All those are what has been captured at that point in time. And obviously, wherever it goes in terms of who gets to see it, that becomes the reality for the person that looks at it. So cherish is good, and culture, absolutely. Sometimes culture is very, very well captured when we're looking at different things. I was looking at pictures the other day, and at the I think it's the Creek Indian celebration that they do every November up in Atmore. And so every year I generally will go. I go for the corn, especially, and the costumes and the dancers, because it's just beautiful. So I was looking at them, and I had actually videotaped them doing some of their dancing, and it was just beautiful, beautiful stuff. And the costumes, of course, they were beautiful as well. Cherish is good, because a picture is generally, we cherish pictures. You know, sometimes families will fight after someone has passed on over pictures. Who gets the picture or pictures? You know, who's in possession of them? Well, you know, to me, I want to know who will maintain them, because as time goes on, they get more and more vulnerable to deterioration, just based on climate, you know, air and air quality and stuff in the homes or wherever they're kept. I had somebody that had given me something, and it was a picture, and I had it in a storage. And when I got it, well, it had mildew from the moisture inside the storage location. That it was my fault, you know, it was my fault. So I no longer have that piece of work. So anyway, when we move on in the word, I have my T as talent, because I believe that anybody that paints, writes, you know, basically does photography and stuff, they're creative. They have talent. And so I have talent from my T. And it says basically it's a natural aptitude or skill that they possess. Hey, good morning, Maurice. Today our word is picture. You know, and I know Maurice takes some great pictures. In fact, I have Maurice where I'm singing next to him or talking recently, and he has on his hat and a mask, and it's a wonderful picture. But anyway, I love that. So technique is good, and tangible. Wow, technique. That's the actual creativeness in painting or in photography or those kinds of things. And then tangible. That's what's been left as a result of something. The tangibleness, the fact that you can touch it. I can touch this picture. I can touch it. So to me, it's tangible. That's pretty cool. So when we go back to the word that I use with it, tripod, yeah, that's good. The tripod, because the tripod can set it up for you for how a picture can be captured. That's very unique, very good, and smart. Because when I'm always trying to take my selfies and all that kind of stuff, I always forget that I can put the timer on it and run across the room. But I have a tripod, and I should use the tripod for that. Thank you. We move on in the world. My U is for unique. I believe that all people that end up being photographers or creative people like Debbie that do this kind of work. This is all made with tiny beads. I'm gonna pull it down just 1 second. These are all beads. When I feel it, it feels wonderful. But it's all beads that she's put on here. Gorgeous. See, look. I'm gonna quit acting up. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna behave. But anyway, just a beautiful piece. So we really talk about the fact that people are talented to do this kind of stuff. I couldn't do it. That looks tedious. I think I'd be a little crazy when I finished it. But anyway, that's saying that that's not my talent. Debbie has the talent in that respect. So talent is to have the flair for it, the aptitude for it, the knack, the facility, the gift, the technique, and the touch. To me, if I'm searching around for a tiny bead, I'd probably be talking about, probably mumbling. I'd probably be mumbling. But anyway, the T is for the talent. The U for me is unique, being unique. It says being the only one of its kind. How many of us have seen beautiful paintings? The Mona Lisa. Okay? Beautiful. Everybody remembers that piece of being gorgeous. Look at all of Monet's pieces, with all of the flowers, the sunflowers. You just think of the beauty that they had a knack for being able to paint those kinds of things. Even the Sistine Chapel and all of the kind of work that was done there in laying on an easel, laying down, extraordinary. Unusual is a really good word for the U. And it says being one of a kind of its kind, unlike anything else. And a lot of times when we see works, that's what makes them unbelievably beautiful, is because not everybody can do it. Not everybody would even try to do it. And then the fact that they got it done made it very unusual, very, very much unusual. So unique is soul, lone. They're like the lone person that did it. Very distinctive, memorable, individualized, specialized, idiosyncratic. It is what it is. It is what it is. To me, when I think of everyone in the world, we all have some unique things that we have capabilities to do. I do what I do. Like I even taught myself, I remember, how to do cursive writing, how to do calligraphy. No one taught me that. I went and got a book and started practicing and looking at what my hand movements need to be. And sometimes we don't realize we have talent and that we can become unique because we never take the time to investigate our own uniqueness. Try it out. It says, temple ruddlings are beautiful. I have a few. Wow. I've never seen temple ruddlings. What do they look like? I've never seen them, and maybe I have and just didn't know that was what they are, Joan. I might have seen them, but I have let me see, I have a couple of Yadro pieces. I have, which is sculptured, but then I have one or two that are actually in paintings. You know, uh, I'm trying to think, and I have Charles Bibbs. I have several Charles Bibbs. Where I think he has a herdsman is one really famous one where you don't know, and the question is how many herdsmen are out there. They have the cattle, the herd at the bottom of their feet, but you don't know how many herdsmen are there. So the question is how many herdsmen are really there? Is it 3 or 4? And there's always that question. And you see their hair, whether it looks like their movement, because the hair is not laying down; it's in flight. So those are the kinds of things. See, to me, that's creative. That's just creative stuff. Ardelia, good morning. Tutorials on YouTube are a great resource and place to start for beginners. Absolutely. Absolutely. You can almost learn anything you want to learn now. If you want to teach yourself how to paint, how to do, even as little as creative writing, to say, well, how do I start? I must start with a subject matter. Do I need an outline? It's out there. Teach yourself something every day. We can certainly do it. My R, when I move on, is for record. And I know you're probably saying, why did you say record? It makes sense to me. These pictures here, and even Debbie's piece, they're a record of an accomplishment, of having done some things that no one else was doing, and it certainly doesn't look like this. I want to see too. So in this instance, it just shows you that, if we live, there's going to be some record of us having been here, and it may be that we've left it just in, a lady gave me a hug the other day, and I told her, I said, I said, this is terrible to say, but you smell just like my mother. And I said, that's Youth Dew perfume. And she said, you know that? I said, yes, it's by Estee Lauder. I said, why? Because my mother wore it most of our lives. That was her favorite cologne. And so even though I don't buy it for myself, I still know the smell. And to me, that was my understanding of the legacy. Part of the legacy my mother left was that I remember that smell being something that she absolutely loved. Recognition is really good, because that's exactly what we leave once we're done with something. It's the recognition. This picture I'll always remember Debbie for doing such a sweet thing for me. And then the pictures in the background, same thing. Okay. So respond. Yeah. I believe that when you have a picture, there's a response that you give it. You either continue to look at it. Now, if I have some scary clowns in my house, and I don't want them. I don't want anything that's going to scare me. So those kinds of pictures you won't find here. But getting back to the record, it says a record is a thing constituting a piece of evidence about the past, especially an account kept in writing or some other permanent forms like pictures. So it's an account, it's a document, it's documentation or evidence of data and files. And basically it's a report that we were here. It's a report. So should we do pictures? I think we should. Should we write down things? I think we should. Because once we're gone, that is something that is reflective. Thanks, Joan. That's a reflection and a reflectiveness of us having been here. It shows our path. It shows where we've been and who we've been around, and maybe what influenced us, or maybe it just shows the evidence of our consciousness at the time we were either doing certain things that left our legacy. The other thing that I have for my last letter in picture is engage. To me, a picture intends the intention when people do pictures is that somebody will engage in it. They'll admire it, they will love it, they will hang it in their house for others to enjoy. So engage for me would be, just the fact that it's going to occupy a certain amount of space that attracts me to it, that gets me involved in it, and forms an interest that I will continue to enjoy and love and look at. So it says engage is to capture, educate. Absolutely. When we leave pictures behind, it is an education of who was here, or what was said. And it forms emotion because, when I got Debbie's gift yesterday, I was like, oh, isn't that just beautiful? It kind of took my breath away. And I'm saying, wow, how sweet, how kind, how loving. I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So engage for me, emotion, effort, all of that. Effective, all of those words. Entertain, that's really good. Educate, entertain, effective, emotion, effort. Aesthetic, absolutely. It is an aesthetic. It is. It is. It's a commemorative thing too, meaning it's not just for me. It's commemorative that I have it. But it's also can be commemorative to the others when they see it, that they say, man, that is gorgeous. That is beautiful. But to engage, it says, is to capture something, to catch it, to sometimes seize the moment, seize the occasion. Like that's why I love pictures from big events and weddings. And, it marks the spot. It marks the time. It marks the date on when you were someplace. So I'm at like 25,000 pictures in my camera, in between my camera and the sky. And it just shows that I have a history of where I've been and what I've been doing in regards to, living my life and enjoying people. So that's what it is. It says when we engage, we also draw them to us. So the pictures draw people to them or to the person that did it. Electrify, that's a good word too, because sometimes we are electrified by what we see and what we're able to comment on. And lastly, the word says to engage is also to attract. Bring it on. I love looking at it. I'm going to look at it some more and some more and some more. Ironically, yesterday, I sent Debbie a picture that's on my wall. And I don't know if I can, let me see if I can turn this that way and see if we can capture it. Let me see if I can. Uh-oh. There it is. That picture is on my wall. Pardon my bags from me coming in from yesterday. But anyway, that is the picture on the wall. Very much like what Debbie sent. So I'm going to figure out how to have both of these wonderful, wonderful pictures near each other because they depict a woman that is confident, a woman that is in thought or prayer or meditation, and a woman that's thinking about what's her next move. I'm hoping that you all will find a picture this weekend that gives you excitement, or maybe you are the picture. Take your own picture. Take someone else's picture. Make it something that can be a commemorative to them and to yourselves. It says, I posted some pictures from Palafox Pier this morning. I'm going to look at them. I am going to look at them. I'm trying to catch up, Maurice, with some of the stuff that you've been doing, but I've just been so busy the last couple of weeks, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because, I have to find out what the usher during the pandemic is doing, because the usher is a mess. He's still out there, still doing post-pandemic stuff now. But yes, we are who we are. Oh, thank you so much, Miss Sandy. Oh, Debbie, I love you. I love everybody that comes on. And if you don't do anything else, you don't have to pay anything. But if you just pass this video on, just share it. Others will get it on their timeline and have time to maybe, or find the time to maybe look at it and make it a part of their regular schedule. But anyway, I know a lot of people say they watch it, but they cannot comment or anything because they might be also working their regular jobs. But anyway, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'll be back on Monday with another word that is special to me and hopefully interesting to you. I love you. And look, I'm going to ask it on the way out. Are you stuck? Hopefully not. Hopefully you're going to be just fine over the weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Kiwanis. Thank you for stopping in. Pass this on. Love you guys. Bye-bye.